Hi guys, I'm Bobsy, and this video I'm going to work on actually equipping items for our player. Now, none of this is pre-planned, so I'm going to be taking it a bit on the fly. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do this, but I have some ideas. So first of all, let's make some action slots down here at the bottom. So sort of similar to what we already have with the grid up here. But I just want it to be just a few slots at the very bottom here. So I'm just going to make a new panel, and this will just be, I don't know, action panel, for example. Put that down here at the bottom and have it stick around there and make it black and a little bit less see-through like that. Probably a little bit smaller. It seems quite big. Something like this I think should be good. And let's also copy and paste just some of the cells into this action panel like so. So where is this cell located? This is not very wide. Let's make it, I think 120 by 120 is what the inventory is. And I can just put it like here. And I could actually make this action panel quickly into a horizontal layout group. So that way it'll lay out itself, and I'm gonna go for the middle center here, and I'm just gonna make a few cells like that. So now we essentially have like 4 slots in here. Make it a little less wide. Something like that should do the trick pretty well. Cool, now we have some action slots at the bottom. And now let's also take this canvas group that we use to enable and disable the inventory and put it instead just on the background of the actual inventory. So that's what we'll be toggling instead. Cool, so now we should pretty much always have these on screen. So you can see now when I press tab, we always have these cells down here on screen. Great. And now let's make a system also so that we can add them to these. I think one of the easiest ways is probably just adding it into the slots. So if I just take these, add them in here. Well, let's now quickly try. So if I pick something up and add it, drag and drop down here, and boom, there we go. Now we have it in essentially an action slot down here. So it's really just an extended part of our inventory, and I feel like that makes sense. So even if our inventory is full, it'll just start filling up available action slots by the end of it. I think that's pretty reasonable. All right, so now we need these action slots to actually, well, do something. I feel like being able to enable them or disable them or something like that would be a good idea. I think what we possibly could do is just make a script that we put directly on them. So let's do something like that. So let me call this, for example, the action slot, and let's put that on the cells. And I feel like we can also serialize then a keybind for them to use. So this will be key code is called, and this will be action key, for example, and we can set that to 1 and 2 and 3 and so on. So what we can do an update is if the input.get key down key code of our action key, well, that would not be key code, that'll just be action key. Like that, or I guess essentially if not, then we'll enable this action key. Now I feel like the inventory manager should still be what's responsible for it in the end. The reason for that is because we need to keep track of every action slot. So let me do that. What do we do? Let's serialize field, and we'll do a private list of action slots like so. I'll make that into a new list, and actually I don't know why this isn't also already a new list, just for safety's sake. And then in the inventory manager, I guess these action slots could also just have the, that's fine, we don't need that. Let's make a public void set action slot active, and then that will need to feed in the action slot, which will be the one we want to set active. And it also needs to keep track of the active action slot and so on. But I guess let's in here firstly just do instance handler.get instance, and then we'll get the inventory manager, and we'll do set action slot active to this. Cool, and then let's make a public void set, I guess let's do toggle active, and we'll take in a bool as to whether it should be set as active or not. And let's also just give it a quick color so we can easily see when it's active and when it's not. So color, and then this will be active color. And we'll also want to store private color, the original color, like so. And we can do that in awake. Cool, and now let's also just have a reference to the image itself, which is what we're going to recolor. So this will be the slot image, I guess we call it. And then down here we'll do underscore original color equals to slot image.color, and here we'll do slot image.color equals to active color or original color, depending on what we do. Cool. So let's also have the inventory manager keep track of which action slot is currently active. So let's do private action slot, and let's do active action slot, and that can just be null by default. That's completely fine. So first things first, we'll do let's start by checking if action slot equals to action slot. If they are the same, we don't want to do anything. What we can also do is if active slot does not equal to null, what we can do is we can take the active action slot and we can do the toggle active to false of that, and then we can take the new action slot and do toggle active to true of that, and then we'll set the active action slot equals to the action slot that we just got in. I hope that made somewhat sense. I know I jumped through it pretty quickly, but this is really just to have the toggling on and off hopefully working. So let's try and go out and let's try and see if this works. So first of all, let's also, instead of making this into a cell prefab, I actually want to make this into an action slot prefab, just so we can also keep that consistent. We'll do that, and let's, well, I guess actually we can just delete these and paste it 4 times. And now this will be the color of when it's active. Let's just try and see what looks good. Let's try and do something like, yeah, maybe we make it like a bluish color, something like that. So let's just plop that up here, and let's just set an alpha that's somewhat similar to what we have done there. Cool, and this was alpha 1. Oh, let's of course remember to override this. And then this was alpha 1, in which case we want this to be alpha 2. I hit alpha, there we go, 2. If I hit A 3 times, we should get alpha 3, and here we should get alpha 4. There we go. And let's just also name them so that it's easy to easily identify them. That's 3 and that's 4. Cool. And now, of course, in the inventory manager itself, I want to identify the action slots, which we can just drag and drop in one by one. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go, and now let me try and press play. And it immediately gets angry about something, which is of course because I didn't set the image on them. So let's do slot image. That of course needs to go in there. And let's just override that. And yep, all the changes still count. Cool, let's try again. And now when I hit 1, 2, 3, and 4, you can see that they toggle essentially. So we can toggle between them with 1, 2, 3, and 4 now. Awesome, this seems to work really well. And now we can have something happen whenever we do this, of course. And this is what I think the inventory manager should probably be responsible for. I guess one thing we should probably do is make another player script. So instead of the player movement, let's make a player inventory script maybe. So let's go into scripts and I'll make a player inventory. Or not player inventory, I guess we call player inventory. Naming doesn't matter much here, but it's actually not what's going to be handling the inventory. That's still the inventory manager. But the player inventory is going to be interacting between the inventory manager and the player inventory. Let's do a similar thing where we make just a public static player inventory. And this is just going to be the local inventory. Like so. We're of course going to make this into a network behavior from the namespace of PurrNet. And then in onSpawned, I'm going to say, oops, if it's owner, or I guess if it is not the owner, we just return here. And then the local inventory will be equals to this. And let's also make sure to on despawned, just have the local inventory set to null. So if we're not the owner, we return, and then local inventory equal to null. Let's do that, and let's also remember to do that on the player movement, just to make sure we don't get any issues with it. I don't think we would. Let's just make sure. And we already have the on despawned here. So, and we have the is owner check as well. So let's just do that. So that should do the trick now. Now we should have the player inventory, and now we can have this interact with the inventory manager. All right, so now let's have the player inventory have a public void. That's going to be equip item. And this is going to take in an item and the item that we want to equip. So now we can call this from the inventory manager. So whenever that we essentially set an action slot to active, we can also get the player inventory dot local inventory dot equip item. And here we essentially want to, once again, similar to what we did earlier, where we find, where do we have that? Where we find the active, was this in the, here. Find the item by name. Let's actually make one, just a method that returns an item and get item by name. I guess it sees what it is that I want. And so just so we can easily use this everywhere that we want by just simply feeding name like so. And I'm going to do the same thing down here in the equip item. We want to give it the, I guess the action slot technically doesn't have, do we have a reference? I guess we know the index. So let's maybe also, let's make another method as well, similar to the get item by name. I guess also let me put this at the bottom. Let's also try and do a private item get item by action slot. And this will take in the action slot and then we can get it. I believe we already do this somewhere as well, where we essentially iterate through. If I'm not wrong. I could be very wrong here, but I feel like we did. Was it here? add new item, go through all the slots. Okay, I see. It's not the exact same thing we do. Okay, well, let's essentially get it here. So let's go through all of the action slots. So let's go through the slots. The length, of course, or .count, I suppose, since it's a list. And then we want to find, or actually, we want to do a similar thing. So we want to for each through all the item data or inventory data. .length, and then we want to find the correct piece of data. So we'll do if inventory data dot at I, sorry, dot item name is the same. Nope. So we want to iterate through all the slots. So we want to do slots dot length or dot count, I guess. And then here we will still check the we will look for the same slot. So we will see if slots at position I is the same as the action slot that we are given. It'll return the get item by name with the item name that's within, I think. Oh, and this is of course the action slot, which is not the inventory slot, I see. So let's first do var inventory slot equals to action slot dot get component, and we'll get the component of type inventory slot, like so we can draw the comparison 1-to-1. And then down here we'll just return null. Okay, I think this little thing should do it. You can definitely add some more safeguarding to it, like use try get component instead. And for that sake, I think since we have the action slots how we do, it's probably better actually to iterate downwards. So let's instead start by setting it to the count -1, just to make it a little bit more efficient immediately. And then we will do I -, so essentially iterating downwards. And as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, it will go through. So now it should iterate essentially from the top, checking just the action slots first. I think this hopefully should work. Now we should be able to do this, so which will be get item by action slot, and we will give it that action slot and then equip item. And then of course in here we can just do if item equals to null. Or I guess we can always do this, if there is no item will return. And then debug.log attempting to equip item, and then we can do the item.item name, just so we can see what it is we're trying to equip. Cool, let's try and see if this works. I know this might be a little bit confusing, but hopefully it does work. Okay, let's see. So we have the null references here. Is it local? Oh, we haven't added the local inventory, of course. So let me go into the player and add the local, oh, not local inventory, add the player inventory script. Just add that up here as well. Save that and let's try it again. So now when I hit 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see nothing happens. When I pick up stuff, still nothing happens. And then if I drag and drop this down here, so when I press 1, it'll try and equip the test cube. Okay, super cool. And let's also do an unequip for that sake. So we'll do a player inventory, a local inventory, dot unequip item, and then we'll get the item by the action slot again, which was the old active slot, action slot. So we'll do the same thing here, and then we'll of course do if there is no item, and this will of course be called item, like so. So now we'll do debug.log unequipped item, which will be the item name. Let's just test this really quickly to make sure that this works. So now we actually have something calling. So let me pick this up. I'll drag and drop down here. I'll press 1 and then press 2, and you can see it unequipped it again. So when I go on and off of it, I can equip and unequip it. Cool. All right, so now we essentially have a little bit of an action slot set up, and the next thing is we of course need to spawn something in front of us that we are, somewhat holding or whatever we essentially want to do. But really cool. This seems to work really well. And then in the next video, we can flesh this out a little bit more and have you actually spawn something in front of you and maybe do something with that item. Cool. Well, I really hope that you're learning something from video to video. I hope you liked the video. Please do remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And other than that, I just hope that you have a wonderful day.